Good morning. Welcome to Small Stages, Big Sounds. This is another special edition. I'm talking to Mark Powell from Powell-Payne. I've known Mark a long time, and we're going to have a chat about what the project is at the moment that's going on and where they see it going from here. So over to you, Mark.
Yeah, this has been a project between myself and Adam Payne. We put together about 2 years ago, I think it was. I had a song or an idea for a song that I pitched to Adam, who I wanted to work with for a long time, but being in various other bands, we didn't get a chance to get together until the timing was right, which is now. We worked on that one song, which turned out to be Distance Between Us. The premise of the band at that time, or project at that time, was us to work with various artists locally. So to have a different bass player or a different guitarist on each track. So we had Adam Davis on guitar for the first track and Steve Leishan on keyboards. That worked really well, released it independently. After that, we had interest from Frontiers Records, which was mind-blowing because it was really early on. We didn't really have a band at the time. As I said, it was just a project.
So just on the back of the one track?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Pretty much. I think the fact that we were working with a producer called Pete Newton, he had a lot of artists he was working with closely at the time through Frontiers, and I think they got wind of it through him and they were interested. They wanted to hear another couple of tracks, so when we worked on our second track, which was No Escape, we brought Aidan Watkins in on guitar. Instantly knew that the idea of working with other musicians was out of the window because he was incredible. He was great to work with, great writer, amazing guitarist, and a wonderful person. So he was great to have involved. We brought Alex in on bass after that, and then the band was formed, and we had another couple of tracks and got signed to Frontiers after they heard 3 or 4 tracks, I think.
That's a pretty impressive turnaround. I mean, how long have you been trying to break into this area?
Well, I'm in the 50s. I've played in bands since I was 16.
So a little while then.
So it's been a while. It's been a long time coming. I was in a band prior to this, as you know, Psycho Kiss. We sort of flaunted ourselves for as long as we possibly could, but nothing really came of that. It's just, I do believe it's a case of right place, right time. And the people you work with, as I said earlier on, I've wanted to work with Adam for a long time. It's in a case of as and when, So when the timing's right, the timing's right. And I think that's what's happened with this project.
So did this just come about because Adam had a sort of space in his diary and that was it? Or was it all to do with what happened with the pandemic?
I think it was a mixture of the both. He wasn't really doing much at the time. I'd sort of been out of Psycho Kiss for a year or so, maybe more. During the pandemic, I sort of got my own little bedroom studio together just to keep myself busy and write. And that's where the first song came from. So yeah, I think it was just a mixture of the two. He was available. He liked what I was doing. So we decided to write together.
So who did the bulk of the writing on the album? Was it like a definite combination or?
Not particularly. I think a lot of the ideas come from myself. And primarily it was me that would come up with an idea, especially with the first track. It was just a piano track. As you know, I'm a drummer by trade. But I do play guitar, I do play keyboards a bit. I always had a hand in writing. Although with Psycho Kiss was predominantly Helen and Paul did most of the writing, although there's 1 or 2 songs on their album that was me, as well as them. But I would bring a song in, and then Aidan would take his take on it. Adam would put the lyrics in. Predominantly it would be Adam the lyrics, and we'd all throw a couple of lines in if need be. But then when Aidan got involved, he'd bring songs in. Now, there's one song on the album called The Storm, which he had, I can't remember how old he was, but it's many years old, that he had this idea from. He brought it to the band and just said, look at this, boys. Worked really well. As I said, that was great having somebody else in the band that can write. Alex was brought in quite late, but he came in with a couple of ideas as well. So it's kind of a mixture of all of us. One of us will come up with an idea, and then we'll all sort of get together and throw it in the pot and see what works.
Okay. So now the album's due for release next week, beginning of December.
6th, yeah.
Yeah, beginning of December. So have you had much in terms of the downloads from the socials for the singles that have been released so far?
Seems to be going really well. Both the videos have had over 30,000 hits.
That's impressive.
It's incredible, especially because No Escape is a lyric video, and we kind of thought lyric videos, especially me and Adam just thought, if it does half as well as the first one, but it kind of overtook the first one. I mean, Better Days being the first official single we've done, and then No Escape has sort of gone past that. So it'd be interesting now when the album comes out on the 6th, they're releasing Voices on the same day, which is another full music video. So it'd be really interesting to see where it goes from there. So yeah, the reception so far has been very good.
So obviously, because you're working together and you're recording together, then this should translate quite easily to the live arena.
Absolutely. We've been in rehearsals because we have our first gig with Cats of Space and New Memo on the 13th, which again is incredible. First gig being in a 350 seat venue. I think it's about that, roundabout. So we spent so much time together writing, and during the writing process, we didn't really play. We didn't get into rehearsal studios and write songs together. We all sort of had ideas and then threw them in. We'd go to my studio in the house and put them together. So I think it was about 3 months ago we started getting together to do live stuff, and it's working really well.
Well, I got to be honest. I mean, I've listened to the album, and as you know, I reviewed it for Uberrock. I sent you a copy of the review. The review should be out around this weekend because I asked Mark to hold on to it until now. So that should be going out shortly. So you know what I think of it, and I have to be honest. I was listening to it coming down here today, and on the back of that, it's growing on me. It's a real grower, and it just sits in that typical melodic AOR. Right in the middle lane.
Yeah, it's not something people have said to us, do you write in a particular vein, or do you, it's not as if we've sat in the house and gone, do you know what, I'm just going to write a load of AOR songs. It's just what we listen to, what we've grown up listening to. We're all listening to different things as well. I mean, I like all sorts of things. So does Adam, but it kind of fell that way, although there are a couple of different songs of the album.
I mean, one of them was a bit, I thought, well, this is very country.
Questions is very country. There's like a piano ballady thing that is predominantly me and Adam on. But it is a little bit of a mix, but it's very heavily based in AOR.
Some of the guitar riffs, as you say, some of the guitar solos are phenomenal. There's no argument about that. They are absolutely brilliant.
Oh yeah, he's an amazing guitarist.
So I give you credit for that. I mean, in all honesty, I like the album. I like the album a lot. And all I can do is wish you all the best there. So after the new gig, where do you see yourself going from then?
We have a couple of gigs in the pipeline, which I'm not allowed to discuss for now.
Well, that's fair enough. I mean, as long as you know, I'll be there if you want a photographer.
Over there,
and a reviewer.
I'm not allowed to say anything. They're pretty local gigs. So but we've got a few in South Wales. We are looking at obviously trying to get on tour with
bigger bands
and see where we go from there. Because obviously we've not played live yet ourselves, so we've not got that
pull.
Yeah, even though I said the videos are doing well, it's a completely different kettle going from views on a YouTube video to pulling punters in, so they need to see us live first. So it'll be a slow process, but
I mean, in all honesty, the one thing I will say about it is the album itself. I think the mix is superb. Everybody in the band has got their own airspace in the mix. There is no muddiness to it at all, and that's what I like about a well-mixed album. Is you can hear the vocals, you can hear the drums, you can hear the guitar, you can hear the bass and the other instrumentation. And what surprised me, and don't take this the wrong way, please don't take this the wrong way. It surprised me how good of a drummer you really are.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah, you've normally seen me in fields at
Yeah.
silly o'clock in the morning, so
Yeah.
that's probably why.
But no, like I said, obviously you're a good drummer, but I mean, the vast majority of times, drums tend to get lost in the background of a track.
I think that's got a lot to do with the producer as well. Being Pete Newdeck, who is amazing. He knows how to get the best out of a track, and he's a drummer.
Oh, oh, there we are. No bias there then.
So, you know, everything up to 11, but
all the drums up to 11, everything down to 3.
Yeah. It's weird because Aidan will say as a guitarist as well, especially live, he's one to put himself lower in the mix, and that doesn't happen very often with the guitarist. They're all up there, you know. Yeah, but the mix is really good. We want to give everybody the space, you know.
And it comes across like that. It really, everybody's got their own space at the right time.
Yeah.
And I like that style of mixing. That's just a personal thing. And there's an awful lot of bands out there that write music, and you can't hear anything because it's just so muddy.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than, say, if I've done a lot of cover gigs in the past, and especially for other bands, and they wanted to learn a set list, and you go and put a CD on to learn whatever track it is, and you can't tell where the bass is, the drums are, you just can't pick anything out. It's just mud. So it makes things difficult. But the way we've gone about it with this album, as I said, everybody wants to have the little bit of space. People need to hear the track as a whole, you know what I mean? It's something that I think it's just the AOR thing as well. That was always about a song as a whole rather than how loud the guitar is or how, you know, how heavy the drums are on an album, you know?
Okay. Like I said, the whole premise of this podcast is looking at smaller venues.
Yeah.
On the basis that if you don't have the smaller venues, then there's not going to be any live music in the future because people have to start somewhere. Now, the one thing that surprised me in talking to Mark David, the CEO of the Music Venue Trust the other week, is that when he said he started promoting gigs 40 years ago, anybody that was first on a bill supported a band on a tour would get 50 quid. All right? Wait now. And he said, but that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Anybody that goes on a tour, supporting a tour now, you're lucky if you get 50 quid. And I thought, well, that's horrendous when you think about it, because it's not about that 30 minutes that you spend on the stage. It's about all the hours in the creativity in the process beforehand and all the hours you spend in terms of practice before you get there, irrespective of how much it costs you to get there.
Yeah.
So I was thinking they still, the standard fee is 50 quid.
If you're lucky. I mean, a lot of bands, as you're aware, a lot of bands pay to go on tours.
Yeah.
They pay thousands of pounds to get out there and play with bands, which when you go to these venues, and it may be a bigger venue that you've paid to be a part of. As you know, a lot of these venues, they charge for your merch as well. So you've got 15-20% that the venue's taking off your own merch. And if you paid to be in a venue, you can't make any money. You're going to lose money on every gig. And people think that people will say when we start gigging now, oh, these guys come from nowhere. We haven't. We've played in tiny venues for 30 odd years. But
well, I've seen you playing in the Dragonfly and the Heavy, for God's sake. You know?
And the Hog and Hospital before that.
Yeah.
And many years in different venues before that. That's, as you say, that's where you learn your chops, you know. That's where we learn to play.
Yeah. But, it's nice to know that you got some future gigs lined up.
Yeah, not too many at the minute, but we've got a few coming in.
You know, well, like I said, you know what I am. I've got all this leisure time on my hands.
Oh yeah, retirement suits you well.
It does suit me well.
You seem more busy now than you were before.
Well, I've got more time to do the things I enjoy doing and less worry about work.
Yeah.
So that's the issue. But yeah, no, I enjoy doing it. But thank you for your time.
No problem.
It's been lovely talking to you. And this will go out on Monday evening.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark. Take care.
Thank you very much.